What is going on, guys? My name is AK, back again with another YouTube video, and in today's video what we're going to be doing is we're ranking all of the competitive Call of Duty maps from Advanced Warfare all the way through to Black Ops Cold War. Now I know some of you are going to be saying, where are the Black Ops 2 maps? And I know you guys love the Black Ops 2 maps. I love the Black Ops 2 maps, although I only properly started playing competitive in Advanced Warfare, so I thought in order to make this list fair I would start it from there. Although I'm sure you know there have been a few remasters, especially with Standoff hopefully coming sometime later this season. We will be having a few Black Ops 2 maps actually in this tier list anyway. Lastly, I want to apologise, there is a bit of work going out on the front of my house, so there might be some banging, some noises. I'll try and sort of cut out as much as I can, but some of it might sneak in, so I apologise if there's any of that. But with that said and done, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do, be sure to drop a like, and let's get straight into it. So here we are on my tier list. I made a custom one. You know, there are some templates, but I decided it'd be best to make sort of my own personal one, so I can throw in all the maps, make sure that none are missing, and also I can have my own tier. So as you can see, we've got it set up here. We've got everywhere from God to awful, as well as one tier for the best and one tier for the worst. So we're going to work through game by game, putting them into the list, and then at the end of the video, we're going to promote one of the God tier maps to the best map in competitive Call of Duty so far, and we're going to demote one of the awful maps into the worst competitive map so far. So hopefully you guys can enjoy this video. Let's get straight into it. So we are starting off on Advanced Warfare, and first map, Detroit. Love Detroit, solid map. I think we're probably going to have to put this in great. Played very well for Hardpoint and S&D and Uplink. Next we have Recovery. Now I believe this was S&D only. Wasn't a massive fan of this one, but it wasn't awful. I'm probably going to have to put it in okay. Now, Riot, another S&D only map there for Advanced Warfare. I actually really like this. I know there were people that weren't too much of a fan, but I actually didn't mind this. Probably good. Retreat, very solid Hardpoint map. I think it was just Hardpoint that was played on this. Oh, also Capture the Flag was played on this as well. And very fun map to play. Had some very interesting and very exciting gameplays as well. I think that's going in good as well. I think we might have our first God tier map, Solar. Absolutely amazing Hardpoint map. Probably the best map in Advanced Warfare. And yeah, absolute great map for Hardpoint. Definitely in the God tier. Then we have Comeback, which was a Uplink map. Might have been a Hardpoint map as well. I can't really remember. I think it was. I definitely know it was Uplink. And again, very solid map. Really enjoyed playing this. And it's probably going to have to go in either good or great. Let's put it in good for the moment. Next we have Terrace, which I believe was also an S&D only map. Might be a bit wrong. It's ages ago that I played this, but Terrace was quite a good map. Really more of a pubs map. I actually didn't sort of remember this one too much as a competitive map, but it's probably an okay. And then we have Biolab, another very solid map out of Advanced Warfare. Very fun to play, good for a whole range of different game modes. Probably going to have to put that one in great. So that's about it for Advanced Warfare. Next we're moving on to Black Ops 3. Starting off with an absolute banger, Fringe, definitely straight up in the God tier. Absolute solid map. As an AR, probably one of my favourite maps I've ever played. Definitely a contender for the best in the game there. Next we have Stronghold, another very, very solid map. Actually really enjoyed playing this one. Very good. I remember sort of playing 1v1 game battles, S&Ds on that. Love this map. Definitely great tier. Next we have Breach, that I know a lot of people didn't actually like Breach, but I actually did really enjoy Breach. Very fun game, very fun game mode. Actually played, I think, across the board. You had Capture the Flag, S&D and Hardpoint on it, and as an AR, worked really well. I used to love the Shiva on this map. Solid map, again, going to have to be a great tier. Okay, next we have Hunted. Hunted was just in for S&D. Now, to me, Hunted really was a public match map. It wasn't really anything special. I didn't like it too much for S&D. I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, Black Ops 3 was a really good game, so if it's in Black Ops 3, chances are I probably enjoyed it, but not so much. It really sort of stuck out as the one that I liked playing the least, especially when you got it in Arena, the old competitive mode back in the day. So I think we're throwing that in the bad tier. Next we've got Redwood, another S&D only map, I believe. Absolutely solid map. Actually really enjoyed playing Redwood. It's definitely a great or a good. Oh, where should it go? I think, you know what, we're putting it in great. It was a very good map. Really enjoyed Redwood. So next we've got Infection. Again, straight in the great tier. If you can't tell, I really enjoyed Black Ops 3. Probably, arguably, my favourite competitive Call of Duty that I have played. Actually, no, scrap that. Definitely the best competitive COD that I've played so far. The maps were amazing. The weapons were amazing. And yeah, definitely a really fun one. And lastly, to round out Black Ops 3, we have Evac. This was a hard point. I think it was S&D for a while because there was the 3v4 in the Pro League. If you don't know, a player for a team, I can't remember exactly who it was. They laid that very early in the game, and the rest of the team actually 3v4'd the match in the Pro League. If you can find the gameplay on YouTube somewhere, it was crazy. But very fun game mode, and very fun map, and also I think it played Uplink on this as well. I think we're going to throw that in good. Okay, so here we are moving on to Infinite Warfare. Now, I played Infinite Warfare a little bit, not as much as Black Ops 3, but still had quite a decent amount of game time in. So the first one here is Precinct. I think that was an uplink only map, I want to say. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. Probably going to have to put it in okay. Similar feelings towards Breakout, which was I know it was definitely a hardpoint map. I think it was an S&D map as well. It was pretty good, not amazing. The bomb site placements were not the greatest, I don't think. But yeah, not a bad map, and I sort of enjoyed playing it, so in the okay tier. Next we have Retaliation, you know, that P1 with the AR gunfights across that whole long side, you know. Really enjoyed that. Actually, a pretty good map, not going to lie. Probably one of the better ones that Infinite Warfare had to offer. Its map selection wasn't anywhere near as good as Black Ops 3, but still not too bad. I think it's going in the good tier. Frost. Now, this was an uplink only map, I think. Very SMG heavy. I remember the ERAD was the gun of choice on this game, a bit like Apocalypse in Cold War. So I think probably going to have to put this in the bad tier simply because I'm an AR player and I play AR. So yeah, those sort of close range sub maps don't really benefit me. And also uplink on IW wasn't my favourite. Black Ops 3 uplink I loved, but IW uplink wasn't as fun. Probably because of the fact I didn't enjoy playing the map so much. So yeah, probably have to put that in the bad tier. Right, now we have two contenders for the awful tier. We have Scorch and Crusher, both really, really poor maps. I think Scorch was a hardpoint map. I'm not sure if it was anything else, and Crusher was an S&D map, both on that sort of Mars theme, that sort of fiery thing. The actual maps didn't look that bad, but in general just didn't really enjoy playing them. One of them probably is a contender for worst in the game. And lastly, to round out Infinite Warfare, we have Throwback. Throwback was probably the only great map in Infinite Warfare. Really fun. I think it had all three of the game modes on it. Very enjoyable. Had some great gameplays, both me personally and in the Pro League. And so with that out of the way, now we're moving on to World War II. Starting off with Sainte Marie de Mont, which was a hardpoint map and I think an S&D map as well. Actually quite a fun one to play. Wouldn't say it was amazing, but did enjoy it quite a bit. So I think we're going to have to throw that in the good tier. Then we have Ardennes Forest. Probably a great map. Did enjoy playing that quite a lot. Worked for S&D and hardpoint, so yeah, definitely a good map. And Capture the Flag as well, actually. Good map. Next we have Valkyrie. Now this was a DLC map that was added in a little bit later. I didn't really actually play too much of this. I don't think it was that bad, but I didn't really get too much game time on it, so I don't know the map that well, so that's why I'm going to throw it in okay. Next we have London Docks. That is a god tier map. London Docks was a very, very, very nice map. Worked very well for hardpoint and S&D, and was it Capture the Flag as well? I can't really remember. I think it might have been a very solid map. Enjoyed playing that quite a lot. And lastly, to finish up World War II, we have Gibraltar. Now, I'm going to have to throw it in bad. I didn't really enjoy Gibraltar too much. Sort of how the actual map looked, it looked quite nice, but I think the way it played for Hardpoint, which was, I believe, the only game mode played on Gibraltar, it wasn't really my favourite, certainly compared to the other World War II maps, because, you know, World War II wasn't a bad year for maps. I think like Sainte Marie, London Docks, very, very solid map, and Ardennes, you know, they kind of carried it. There weren't many, but they weren't too bad. But yeah, Gibraltar was probably my least favourite of them all. Now on to BO4. BO4 had some very solid maps, and we're starting off with probably the best of them all, Arsenal. That is going in the God tier. Again, one that is definitely a contender for the best COD map of all time. You know, if you look at the Singularity gameplays, Clean X and all that from COD Champs, that was amazing. So yeah, definitely a very, very solid map, deserved of the God tier. Next we have Frequency. That is going in the Great tier. Very fun to play, very good for hardpoint, S&D, and Control as well. Actually, I played for all three game modes, same as Arsenal there. Very solid map, definitely great. Next we have Gridlock, which was probably my least favourite of the respawn maps for Black Ops 4. Wasn't awful, definitely in the good tier, but just not as good as some of the others. Next we have Payload, which was an S&D only map. Now I'm going to have to put this in okay. I didn't hate it. I know there's a lot of people that really didn't like it, but me personally, I didn't mind it. As an AR, it worked quite well for me, sort of hitting the outer, you know, the bridge side of the map if you played it. I used to go towards that side, normally pick up a few kills, so I didn't hate the map, but maybe not the best that it had to offer. Next we have Seaside. I know a lot of people like Seaside, but I'm going to be real, I didn't like Seaside. I think the spawns for it were horrible. There were loads of spawns, especially on the hard point, that you would be spawning out miles. You'd be sprinting for hours just to get to the hill. And then if you got killed again, it'd be a massive sprint. Like, very, very spawn heavy, which, don't get me wrong, if you're good at the game, you can utilize that. But again, if you're not doing the best, it's not the most fun to play. And I wasn't the best at Black Ops 4. I was okay at Black Ops 4, but I wasn't the best. And so quite often I found I was just sprinting around and not getting many kills on that map. So really not one of my favorites. And lastly, we have Hacienda. Oh, I'm torn between God and Great. I really enjoyed Hacienda. Definitely a good one for me with the AR. You know what? I think it's going in the God tier. I loved Hacienda. Very fun map to play. S&D and Hardpoint. I think that was all that was played on that. No, it wasn't played for Control. So fun map, definitely in the God tier. Now moving on to our penultimate game, we have Modern Warfare from last year. Starting off with Piccadilly S&D map. I didn't mind Piccadilly. I know a lot of people are going to say you're weird for this, but I didn't mind Piccadilly. I think we're going to have to put it in the okay tier. It was only ever played for S&D, and you know, I didn't really dislike it too much. You know, when I played it on game battles, a few pro points here and there, it wasn't too bad. Definitely not deserved as much hate as it gets. I know it is a bit of an unconventional map style. You know, not the 3-lane and more of a kind of circular map, but not too bad. Ramaza, that is going straight into awful. Absolutely hated that map. Literally nothing more to say about it. Really didn't like it. Next we have Gunrunner, which was arguably the one good or / great map actually out of Modern Warfare. Pretty fun game, pretty fun map to play there. Quite enjoyed Gunrunner, especially for S&D. You know, it worked quite well, and for Hardpoint too. So well done to Infinity Ward for that one. It's about the only map that they did right. Petrograd is going in bad. Didn't really hate it, but really didn't like it either. Definitely for domination, I don't really feel it worked very well, and neither for S&D or Hardpoint really. Not one of the greatest, so they're therefore in the bad tier. Next we have Hackney Yard, which is going in the awful tier. You know, bad spawns, domination on that map was painful, like really sort of overpowered on one side, really underpowered on the other side. Has to go in awful. Next we have Azir Cave, which I have to admit I didn't actually really dislike. I think I'm going to put it in good. Worked quite well with an AR, but that's really about it. And lastly we have Arkloff Peak, S&D only map. I'm going to put it in okay. I think it played okay, not amazingly, not terribly, just about okay. And finally that brings us on to Call of Duty Cold War, where we are now ranking the maps from this. First of all we have Express as an S&D map. That's a god tier map. I love Express S&D. Solid game, plays really well, and again, yeah, throwback to Black Ops 2. Very solid map. They knew what they were doing with this one. Next we have Apocalypse. This is a bit like Frost, if you heard me talking about that in Advanced Warfare. It's a very sub-heavy map, so I'm going to put this in the bad tier just because it really doesn't fit my playstyle, and personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the map. You know, if when Standoff comes out a little bit into Season 3, we could potentially see this one traded out. That's not something that I'd be too sad to see. Next we have Moscow, which is actually growing on me. I think I'm going to put it in good. If you'd asked me a few weeks ago, I would have said okay, but the more we're scrimming it, the more I'm actually sort of getting used to it now. I'm actually starting to quite like the map. I think we're quite good at it, so that helps. So yeah, definitely going to put it in the good tier. Then we have Miami, which again, I think is a good tier map. It's not great, but it plays okay for S&D. Definitely as sort of the S&D only map, it's not too bad compared to if you think of some of the other S&D only maps, think Piccadilly and Payload. So not too bad, going to go in the good tier. Next we have Garrison, which is going to be joining it in the good tier. Not an awful map, not an amazing map. Don't really mind Garrison. It's okay to play, but not as good as some of the other maps in the game. Next we have Raid, going to be joining its friend Express up there in the god tier. Very solid map. Really enjoyed playing that, and still do. Very solid map at the moment. Probably one of the best, if not the best, in the competitive rotation in this game. And last but not least, we have Checkmate. Now, if you were talking just Hardpoint, there's part of me that wants to put Checkmate in the god tier. I really enjoy Checkmate Hardpoint. I think it works really well, and I think Checkmate Control also does work quite well. But then there's Checkmate S&D, and we don't talk about Checkmate S&D. That's not the most fun to play. You know, really overpowered at one bomb site. Not even that we're bad at it. We're actually quite good at Checkmate S&D, me and my team. But yeah, not too much of a fan of that. So I think that demotes it into the great tier. And with that said and done, we are finished. So now is the important time to promote one map from the god tier into the best Call of Duty competitive map ever played, and demote one from the awful tier into the worst ever played. So let's start with demoting the worst. Now, this is a hard one for me. I dislike all of these maps quite a lot actually, but I would probably have to say that my least favourite that I've played, it's got to be Hackney Yard. That map was awful. Yeah, really one of my least favourites, on what doesn't help as being one of my least favourite competitive games, and I'm sure that's something that is echoed by quite a large portion of the competitive Call of Duty community. Modern Warfare really wasn't the best, and so the worst map on arguably the worst game, probably not going to be doing very well. And now time to promote one map into the best Call of Duty map we've ever played. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm currently tied down between two maps right now. We have Fringe and we have Arsenal. Really enjoyed both of them. Very solid maps. You've got Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, and, you know what? As Black Ops 3 was my favourite competitive Call of Duty game that I've ever played, we are promoting Fringe into the best Call of Duty map that we have ever played, in my opinion. So that is about it for today's video. Really hope you guys have enjoyed. I want you to fill this one out for yourself. I'll see if I can find a link and throw it in the description. So fill it out for yourself. Send me it on Twitter just underneath me there, and link in the description. So I want to see what maps you guys enjoy. And you know, if you didn't play this far back, then don't include them. And if you did, then maybe find another tier list with sort of the Black Ops 2 and Ghost maps, because I played a little bit of them, just not competitively. But really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.